Bunch!
I actually like this song.
First of all, congrats. I have a lot of things to ask you about with the movie, but I do want to start with my curve, which is, do you have a favorite Stanley Kubrick film?
Yes, we do. I mean,
do both of you have the same movie?
I don't think so.
I don't know if it's the same movie. It's really hard. I love Stanley Kubrick. I don't know. It's so hard for me to pick a favorite.
It is. I mean, Kubrick is sort of like, depends on the month, right? I'll have a different favorite.
I agree with that answer.
But, Clockwork was the one that I fell in love with when I was like 14. And so I'll say Clockwork.
There's no wrong answer, by the way.
Yeah, I sort of had the same experience with Clockwork, but I think what endures more with me is The Shining.
Yeah.
But there's so many.
Listen, there's no wrong answer. The answer is all of them. But anyway.
I watched Eyes Wide Shut again like 2 months ago, and I was like, this is a fucking good movie.
Yeah, again, there's no wrong answer. Do you think Electric State could have been made 5 years ago? Or are we at the cusp of where technology and film, you get what I mean? Like pushing it.
It was very difficult to make that movie. It took us 5 years to make it. It took a lot of prep from a production design standpoint, a design standpoint. Those robots were very difficult to bring to life in the way that we did with the level of detail. In a lot of weird ways, the strike, I think, helped us out because we got more time to work on them in post and work on those VFX. But I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think at the level. I think it took us making Infinity War and Endgame and working with Thanos and the Black Order to understand really how to advance motion capture performance to that next level. And a lot of motion capture performance we use on the robots.
I just have to say, so I've watched a lot of movies. I was truly stunned at the VFX work in this film, watching it yesterday. The daylight shots, I couldn't tell, it's fucking great, the VFX. And I normally don't go deep on VFX, but I want to commend everyone who worked on it, the motion capture people, but talk a little bit about bringing this to life, because the VFX they could make or break this movie. If the VFX don't look good, this movie doesn't work at all.
Yeah. Well, it was. Thank you for mentioning that, by the way, because we did work so hard and so long on that. It was a spectacular collaboration between Dennis Gassner, our production designer, Matthew Butler, our visual effects supervisor, and Steve Winden, our cinematographer. Like that, the look of the movie was really sort of worked between that triangle with us, obviously, in that as well. I think one thing we had going for us is we wanted to commit so strongly to a retro feel, a retro texture, imperfections. It wasn't slick. The look of these robots, it's almost early on, we almost had to stop and correct some of the designers who were starting to work on it, because everybody's instinct with a robot is to make it super sophisticated. And we're like, no, this is the opposite of that. These things couldn't be less sophisticated. And that is their charm and their fun and their virtue, is their basicness. And so I think that may have helped us a bit in terms of grounding it, making it textured. Also the fact that we were chasing a period aesthetic as well helps give us that texture. And so it was a combination, I think, of all those factors that allowed us to have these really strong graphics.
I definitely want to touch on, I love talking about editing. This movie has so many VFX shots in it, and every VFX shot costs a lot of money. So was there sort of a pressure to deliver a movie that's like 2 hours or an hour 50, or could you get what I mean, because of the cost?
There wasn't ever. And that's
a real issue,
we've had a great relationship with Netflix. Yeah. And they really have let us make the movies that we want to make. It's tricky. We tried to make this one in the studio system. It just wasn't going to be affordable. I mean, the movies, it's a difficult movie because, so many of the characters are CG. And literally every shot that they're in is a CG oriented shot. It costs a lot of money to do that. So kudos to Netflix for stepping up and letting us make the exact movie that we wanted to make.
Did you have a cut that was like 220 and you're like, I don't know how it's getting shorter?
No,
we did it.
We're tough on our material anyways. Yeah. Like we have a motto that nothing was ever better longer than it was shorter. Like if you can tell a story in a more compressed fashion, then it's going to be a better story. Yeah. And so, we were just tough on the material. I mean, I don't even know what's the running time now.
It's about 2 hours. So where we landed, but no, yeah, it was, we're really world building in this story. It's a layered complex story with a lot of characters. So there certainly was a part of the process was certainly us feeling out the right combination of that to make the movie sing. But I think, where we landed where we landed simply because of story, our instincts on what we wanted the story to be.
I'm just about out of time, so I got to sneak in some questions about something called Avengers.
Sure.
Yeah, I know. It's some other movie that you're working on or movies you're working on. For fans, I'm hearing you're filming in London. Where and when are you filming? Like,
we are in London. We're there now. We're working away. We roll cameras sometime in April. And that's on the first one. And then the second one will be shortly behind that. So
do you have like a 6-month shoot, an 8-month shoot? Like how long are you going
No,
for?
I think it's
standard kind of
probably
length shoot to
6 months for each of them.
Do you know when we're going to start hearing about casting and like which characters are coming in?
Never,
no.
Not until you go to the theater.
Right.
Sure. I don't believe that. There's things called set picks and whatnot, but
we're pretty good about shutting that down.
We've sort of strategized to hopefully be effective with that.
But look, that's something I wanted to. You're getting into what I wanted to ask, which is how much on a movie like this are you like? We're doing as much soundstage work as we can to prevent things from getting out.
We are doing quite a bit of that.
We don't want to draw.
We want to be behind
but
gates. We don't want people getting photographs, so we are being pretty stringent.
And the location work we are doing, we have picked those locations with that in mind as well.
Last thing, because I got to go. Do you view the movie already as like a 2.5 or 3 hour film? Do you think it's going to be one of those?
If I were a betting man, I would say the first one is 2.5 and the second one's 3 hours.
All right. Gentlemen, I have a lot of other questions, but for another time.
Yeah, well, I can't wait for it.